Released in 2003, I.G.I 2 Covert Strike is a tactical first-person shooter developed by Interloop Studios and published by Codemasters. This sequel to the 2000 hit Project I.G.I continues the adventures of protagonist David Jones, a former SAS soldier now working for the Institute for Geotactical Intelligence, I.G.I. Known for its focus on stealth and tactical gameplay, I.G.I 2 built on its predecessor's strengths while attempting to address some of its weaknesses. This comprehensive retrospective delves into the key aspects that make I.G.I 2 Covert Strike a memorable title in the early 2000s gaming landscape. The storyline of I.G.I 2 Covert Strike picks up where the first game left off. David Jones is on a mission to stop an impending global conflict orchestrated by a Chinese general named Wu Xing. The narrative takes players across diverse global locations, from the snowy peaks of Russia to the deserts of Libya and the dense forests of China. Each of the game's 19 missions is interconnected through a series of cutscenes, enhancing the narrative depth and providing context for Jones's covert operations. David Jones's mission begins with the rescue of a high-value asset, Philip White, from a heavily fortified prison. From there, the narrative expands into a complex web of international intrigue involving stolen EMP chips, covert dealings, and a nefarious plot to instigate World War III. The antagonist, General Wu Xing, plans to use the stolen technology to cripple U.S. intelligence and military operations. The storyline, while not entirely original, offers enough twists and turns to keep players engaged. Throughout the game, players are tasked with a variety of objectives, from infiltrating enemy bases and gathering intelligence to sabotaging critical infrastructure and neutralizing key targets. The missions are designed to emphasize stealth and strategy, with players often needing to avoid detection and use gadgets to complete their objectives. The development of I.G.I 2 Covert Strike involved a dedicated team at Interloop Studios who were determined to improve upon the original game. The team sought to address the criticisms of the first game, particularly around the AI and lack of multiplayer mode. To ensure a high level of authenticity, the developers consulted with Chris Ryan, a former Special Air Service SAS operative, who provided invaluable insights into military tactics and operations. Chris Ryan's involvement brought a level of realism to the game's stealth and tactical elements. His experience in covert operations helped shape the game's approach to mission design, emphasizing the importance of planning and strategy over brute force. This collaboration was crucial in distinguishing I.G.I 2 from other shooters of its time, making it a more immersive and challenging experience. Interestingly, the development team at Interloop Studios faced numerous challenges during the creation of I.G.I 2. One notable story involves the integration of Chris Ryan's tactical advice into the game. The team had initially designed certain missions with more direct combat in mind. However, after consultations with Ryan, many of these missions were reworked to incorporate more stealth elements and realistic military strategies. This led to some delays but ultimately resulted in a game that felt more authentic and challenging. Another behind-the-scenes fact is the game's proprietary engine, which was a significant undertaking for the development team. The engine, developed in-house, allowed for large detailed environments and realistic weather effects. This was a major technical achievement at the time and required extensive testing and optimization to ensure smooth performance across various PC configurations. I.G.I 2 Covert Strike is renowned for its emphasis on stealth and tactical planning. Unlike many shooters of its time, the game rewards players for using stealth over brute force. Players are encouraged to bypass enemies, disable security systems, and complete objectives without raising alarms. This approach is not only more challenging but also more satisfying for those who enjoy a strategic playstyle. Stealth is a core component of the gameplay. Players can utilize silenced weapons, distractions, and melee attacks to neutralize enemies quietly. The game also offers a variety of tools and gadgets to aid in stealth operations, such as lockpicks for silent entry and remote-controlled explosives for strategic sabotage. Missions often have multiple paths and solutions, allowing players to choose between direct confrontation and covert infiltration. The game's AI was improved from the first installment, with enemies exhibiting more sophisticated behaviors such as taking cover, coordinating attacks, and searching for intruders when alerted. However, despite these improvements, the AI can sometimes be inconsistent, leading to occasional lapses in challenge and immersion. The arsenal in I.G.I 2 is extensive, featuring over 30 weapons ranging from silenced pistols and sniper rifles to assault rifles and grenades. Players can also use gadgets like binoculars for scouting, a laser designator for calling airstrikes, and various explosives for sabotage. The wide range of equipment allows players to tailor their approach to each mission, whether they prefer stealth or direct combat. The game's 19 missions are diverse and well-designed, offering a mix of infiltration, sabotage, and combat scenarios. Each mission presents unique challenges and objectives, ensuring that gameplay remains varied and engaging. The missions are interconnected by cutscenes that provide narrative context and set the stage for the next operation. One of the significant improvements in I.G.I 2 is the handling of enemy reinforcements. In the original game, enemies would spawn endlessly when alarms were triggered, leading to frustrating scenarios. I.G.I 2 addresses this by limiting the number of reinforcements, making it more manageable for players to recover from mistakes without being overwhelmed. One of the significant additions to I.G.I 2 is its multiplayer mode. Unlike its predecessor, which was strictly single-player, I.G.I 2 offers a team-based multiplayer experience. Players can choose to side with either I.G.I operatives or terrorists, with each team having specific mission objectives. This mode adds replayability and provides a different kind of challenge compared to the single-player campaign. The multiplayer mode features various maps and game types, including Capture the Flag and Deathmatch. The inclusion of vehicles and larger maps allows for more strategic gameplay, encouraging teamwork and coordination. Despite some initial connectivity issues and balancing problems, the multiplayer mode was well received and added significant value to the game. At the time of its release, I.G.I 2 was praised for its impressive visuals. The game features detailed character models and realistic environments, from lush forests to desolate deserts. The use of a proprietary graphics engine allowed for high levels of detail, particularly in the game's expansive outdoor environments. The environments are richly detailed, with dynamic lighting and weather effects that enhance immersion. The audio design complements the visual experience, with realistic sound effects and a fitting musical score that heightens the tension during stealth segments and firefights. The game's soundtrack, composed by Kim M. Jensen, provides an atmospheric backdrop that enhances the overall experience. Voice acting, while serviceable, sometimes falls into the realm of cliché, but it does not significantly detract from the overall immersion. Upon release, I.G.I 2 Covert Strike received mixed to positive reviews. Critics praised the game for its ambitious scope, tactical gameplay, and visual fidelity. However, it was also criticized for its sometimes erratic AI and the lack of an in-game tutorial, which made it less accessible to newcomers. The storyline, while engaging, was seen as somewhat derivative. Players had varied reactions to I.G.I 2. Some praised the game's challenging missions and tactical depth, appreciating the freedom to approach objectives in multiple ways. The improved AI, despite its inconsistencies, was seen as a step up from the original game. However, some players found the lack of an in-game tutorial frustrating, leading to a steep learning curve for newcomers to the series. Review scores varied, with some publications giving high marks for the game's innovation and challenge, while others pointed out its flaws in AI behavior and mission design. Despite these criticisms, I.G.I 2 developed a dedicated fanbase. Its focus on stealth and strategy set it apart from other shooters of the time, which often prioritized fast-paced, action-oriented gameplay. The game's challenging missions and the freedom it offered in approaching objectives resonated with players looking for a more thoughtful gaming experience. To fully appreciate I.G.I 2 Covert Strike, it's useful to compare it with other games from the early 2000s. Titles like Splinter Cell and Metal Gear Solid also focused on stealth and strategy, but differed in their execution and storytelling. Released in 2002, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell brought a high level of polish to the stealth genre. The game featured cutting-edge graphics and a tightly controlled narrative that guided players through a series of meticulously designed levels. In contrast, I.G.I 2 offered more open-ended missions, giving players greater freedom in how they approached objectives. While Splinter Cell was praised for its technical achievements and storytelling, I.G.I 2 carved out its niche by emphasizing player choice and tactical planning. The Metal Gear Solid series, known for its complex narratives and innovative gameplay mechanics, set a high bar for stealth games. Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty, released in 2001, continued the series' tradition of blending action with deep storytelling. I.G.I 2 did not aim to compete with the cinematic quality of Metal Gear Solid, but instead focused on creating a more grounded and realistic tactical experience. This difference in approach allowed I.G.I 2 to stand out in a crowded market. I.G.I 2: Covert Strike holds a special place in the history of tactical shooters. While it may not have achieved the same level of commercial success as some of its contemporaries, it influenced the development of future games within the genre. The emphasis on stealth and tactical planning can be seen in later titles, reflecting I.G.I 2's lasting impact on game design. The game's legacy is also evident in the continued interest from the gaming community. Fans have long awaited a sequel that would bring the series into the modern era, and there have been occasional rumors and announcements hinting at a potential new installment. The recent surge in popularity of tactical and stealth games suggests that a well-executed new entry in the I.G.I series could find a receptive audience today. In 2019, Toadman Interactive announced that a new I.G.I game was in development, reigniting interest in the series. Although details have been scarce, the announcement has been met with enthusiasm from fans who remember the original games fondly. The influence of I.G.I 2: Covert Strike can be seen in various modern tactical shooters. Games like the Sniper Elite series and the more recent Ghost Recon titles have incorporated elements of stealth and tactical planning that were prominent in I.G.I 2. The emphasis on open-ended mission design and the ability to approach objectives in multiple ways have become staples in the genre, showcasing the lasting impact of I.G.I 2 on game development. Another interesting aspect of I.G.I 2's legacy is its modding community. Over the years, dedicated fans have created numerous mods that enhance and expand the game. These mods range from simple graphical updates to entirely new missions and scenarios. This ongoing support from the community has helped keep the game alive and relevant, providing new content and experiences for both old fans and new players. Many of the game's missions and settings were inspired by real-world locations and events. For instance, the snowy peaks of Russia and the deserts of Libya reflect actual military operations and conflicts from the early 2000s. The developers' attention to detail in recreating these environments adds a layer of authenticity to the game. I.G.I 2: Covert Strike is also known for its hidden Easter eggs and secrets. One notable Easter egg can be found in the game's training mission, where players can discover a hidden room filled with humorous posters and messages from the development team. These little touches add a sense of personality and charm to the game, rewarding players who take the time to explore every nook and cranny. The development of I.G.I 2 was not without its challenges. One particularly interesting story involves the game's AI. Initially, the AI was programmed to be highly aggressive and difficult to outsmart. This led to a lot of frustration during playtesting, as players found it nearly impossible to complete missions without being detected. The developers had to strike a delicate balance, creating AI that was challenging yet fair, ensuring that players felt rewarded for their strategic planning and stealthy approach. I.G.I 2: Covert Strike is a testament to the creativity and ambition of early 2000s game development. It pushed the boundaries of what tactical shooters could offer, combining engaging gameplay with a compelling narrative and impressive visuals. While it had its flaws, the game's strengths have ensured its place in the annals of gaming history. For fans of the series and newcomers alike, revisiting I.G.I 2 offers a glimpse into a pivotal moment in the evolution of stealth-based shooters. Its blend of strategy, action, and storytelling remains a benchmark for the genre, making it a title worth remembering and celebrating. In summary, I.G.I 2: Covert Strike remains a noteworthy entry in the tactical shooter genre, offering a challenging and rewarding experience for those who appreciate stealth and strategy. Its legacy continues to influence game design, and its fan base eagerly anticipates the future of the I.G.I series. The game's immersive gameplay, engaging storyline, and strategic depth make it a timeless classic that deserves to be revisited and appreciated by both old fans and new players alike.